Welcome YouTubers to the Driftworks Garage. Today we're going to run through the installation of our power pod. And what we've got here is a complete rear axle for a drift trike with an 80cc motor. So let's pop this baby open. Careful with your knife, you don't want to slice anything in there. Pop it open, take a look. So you got your rear axle, a gas tank, this is the engine, and some parts and stuff. So we'll unload that stuff, get that out of here. This is our motor. This is a nice little 80cc engine. The chain's already connected and at the right length, so it's easy to install. We got our handlebars. We got carburetor, spark plug, and a coil for ignition. And you got your throttle cable, clutch cable, and this is your throttle slide, so be careful with that. And then we got some zip ties to tie up cables. And here we got our muffler, or our pipe. So there's our pipe. Alright, now for the axle. Get our axle up here on the table. And what we're going to do today is we got a Huffy slider we're going to do. This bolt pattern will bolt right up to the Huffy slider. And if you're doing your own trike, you'll have to just come up with a bolt pattern that fits this, but it comes with the bolts. And this axle will run on any trike you come up with. Now we grab our Huffy slider. Alright, first thing we're going to do is get the back on here. There we go. Get one of those holes started. There we go. Then we can get the other one going. Alright. So we got our axle basically on now. Screw those down good and tight with your bolts and nuts. Now the next thing we're going to want to do is get the motor on. So to get this motor on, we've got to take this tire off because we've got our chain on there already. So let's pop this tire off. You'll need a 3/16 Allen wrench. So we got our tire off. And now, we've got the motor in here. So our motor's got our mount bolts right there. And in this case, when this motor was set up, we had to add spacers to get our chain tension proper. So your motor may come with spacers and it may not. Alright, now, get the motor on there, we gotta get the chain lined up. Just gonna set this chain over here. That sucker on. Just like that. Now we gotta get our spacers on here. Alrighty, we got so you'll need a standard set and a metric set to maintain your trike. The standard set is mostly the rear axle materials, and the metric set will be your engine and your trike parts. So those are a good thing to get a hold of. Cinch the engine down good and tight. Check your tension, and we want to go ahead and leave a little bit of slop. So about something like that. And then you cinch all these bolts down good and tight. And just as you're cinching them down, make sure that tension, that slop that I want, is still there. So when I tighten this one, it got tight. So move the motor back a little bit more. There we go. And cinch it down. Okay. Cinch all those down good and tight. All right. So we got a little bit of play in here in the chain. That's what we want. So our motor's on. So now let's put this tire back on. And that tire will be a 3/16. And it'd take a long T-handle, probably best. There we go. Our axle's on. So what we got here is, these are polished aluminum Douglas car tires. And these are from Sugar River Raceway. They race a lot of go-karts there. And the tires are used, but the rims are new. So Sugar River Raceway, they sell these at a discount because you're getting used tires. And these inside spindles, we got some anodized red hubs here. I get those from BMI Karts. Good outfit. All right, so we got our axle on. Next, we want to do all of our cables and such. So first thing you gotta do is you gotta take these grips off. Now these grips are on here. If you've got an air compressor with a pistol grip, you can use your air compressor under here and blow these things off, or you can just take a knife and cut them off. I've already had these off, so they're ready to come off. There we go. Now the next thing, if you're doing a Huffy slider, you got to get rid of this brake handle. This brake handle is made for a little kid's grip, so this brake handle will get in the way of the throttle. So you got to go to your bike shop, pick up a BMX lever, and replace this brake handle. So here we go. We got a BMX bike handle, and this Huffy slider brake cable fits right into that. Alright, so you got your cables. Go ahead and cut these cable ties off. Unravel them. Like I said, be careful with this throttle, and this is your throttle needle, so watch out for that, be careful of it. There's your cables. Now, your throttle, inside the throttle here, there's a metal nubbin sticking down. And what you got to do is you got to place your throttle where you want it. Loosen these up a little bunch. There. When you have your handlebars set about the angle that you want, then you can get this throttle set where you want it. So check this side, and you can see the kill switch right here. So we want the kill switch, you know, basically straight up and down. So then we can mark our handlebars right here where that little knob's supposed to be. And then we'll drill a hole in the handlebars right here for that little knob to go down into, and that'll prevent this throttle from shifting around. Okay, we got a hole for the throttle. Now that'll fit in there. There, that fits right in that hole. That holds the throttle in place. Get our clutch cable up here. There we go. Alright. Actually, we want to put our brake cable on the outside of all these cables. So let's disconnect this sucker. Alright, get your clutch cable installed up here. There we go. cinch that down about where you want it, where it feels good. Now this next step of routing cables is kind of critical. If you get the cables bent too sharp, they won't operate smoothly. So we got our zip ties, we got a measuring tape. The first thing we're going to set here is we're going to set this bow right here, this loop. And you want this loop to be about 6 inches out from the frame right here. So we take our measuring tape, put that loop, pop it up to where we get about 6 inches out. So it'll be right about there. Then we take our zip tie, our cable tie, and we anchor it to the frame right here. There we go. That's the start of our cable routing. And so just make sure that's still about 6 inches. So, alright, we're still there, that's good. So go ahead and cinch this down tight. There. So this loop allows for the steering wheel to turn all the way around and come all the way back this way without binding up the cables, and your throttle will still work and your clutch will still work. So this loop's very important, about 6 inches from here to here. And now, route the rest of your cable. Get it tied about right here. Alright, so there's our cable routing. So we got one up top, we got one about here in the bend, one there, one right about here, one back here, and then 2 on the axle right here. That takes care of that. So now we got left our throttle cable and the clutch cable. So let's grab our carburetor and we'll pop on the carburetor. So let's do that. Here's our carburetor. Alright, take the paper towel out, slide the carburetor on right here, and make sure that carburetor goes all the way on. And you can see in the crack here if the carb's all the way on or not. If the carburetor is too far out and air gets in that crack, it won't run good. So make sure it's all the way on. And then cinch up the bolt. Make sure it's on good and tight. There we go. Then we can pop in our slide. Notice the slide has this ramp right here, and this side is a long notch. This ramp right here is your idle set screw. This right here is your idle set screw. So this ramp goes on this side. Line it up. If it doesn't go in, just be gentle with it. Don't force it. And wiggle it until it goes in. There you go. And screw that sucker down. Alright, there's our throttle. Let's try it out up here. Alright, feels good. Alright, next we want to install our clutch cable. So our clutch cable, we got a cable catch right here, so just take that off. There we go. Slide that off. We gotta go right down through that one. There we go. Set it all the way into there. There we go. And now to do this part of the cable, this is setting the adjustment on the cable. Take a feel up here to your lever and hang on to it down here with your hand and make sure the cable and everything's set in proper position. Now for the adjustment, I'm going to do it on this side. You slide your brass fitting back on. Sometimes these ends fray out, you just twist them clockwise to get them back in. Now to set the proper cable tension, this is loose. You pull it up till it just touches right there, and you set the brass fitting right about that point with this cable pulled snug. and then you tighten the screw right here. There you go, like this. Cinch that down really good, and that is going to set your brake tension. And then if you push really hard, that's your clutch. You push that forward, slide it into there, and back to there. And there your clutch is set. So now, our rear axle is locked up. Now if we pull our clutch, that should free the axle up. And so we got good motion. And at the top right here, you got a clutch lock. You pull that in, push that down, let up. That locks your clutch, and that's so you can start it. So you should be freewheeling. So we're freewheeling back here. And that'll be the position it in when you start it. All right, next we're going to install our coil. And that will go right up here in this top bolt hole. Pop that sucker on. That requires a 10 wrench metric. And cinch it down. This mount is plastic, so don't cinch it down too hard that you destroy it. But make sure it's stationary, it's solid, it's good. Alright, next you got a blue wire and a black wire. You can slide these covers off so you can get to them easy. And then coming off the motor, you have a blue wire and a black wire. Black goes to black, there you go. Blue goes to blue, there we go. And then we have our throttle cable right here, our throttle kill switch connection. And these colors don't matter, it doesn't matter which one you plug it into. Just pick either one. There. And slide these covers back over them. Like that. There we go. So I'll take some black tape and tape these things up so they're not going to come apart. Electrical's done, coil's on. Now let's go ahead and pop in our spark plug. Spark plug. Pop that sucker in. Comes with a spark plug wrench. Stuff your screwdriver in the hole. Cinch that down good. Doesn't have to be super tight, just snug. That's that. Pop on our spark plug cap. And now for the muffler. Pop your screws off on here. And stuff the muffler on. There you go. We got a flat washer and a lock washer. There you go. Flat washer, lock washer. These are a 10 wrench also. Lock those down good and tight. There we go. We got this bar on here. This is just to protect you from burning your elbow, because it's about where your elbow would be. You just want to set it right on that muffler there. You can burn yourself, so that bar's a little bit of protection from that. So we got our muffler on. We got our coil on. We got the spark plug in. Carburetor's on. Clutch is set up, tensioned properly and releasing. And electrical wiring done. So now we got to mount the gas tank. Alright, so in this case, our tank, I already made these, are modified just for this Huffy slider. Normally it'll come with some plumber's tape. You'll be able to cut the strap to the length that you need. So you want your mount to go underneath the cables, not on top of them. Slide that so. There we go. And just put these nuts on finger tight. Don't tighten them down, just get them finger tight at first, because we have to put our back strap on before we tighten anything. So there that on. Now let's get our back strap. Under the cables, we don't want to be on. Probably easier just do one side first. Alright, so it's basically on, so now let's position this thing up close to the top here. Not hitting, but just up to the top. And now we can use our 10 wrench and tighten all these down. Don't cinch these down super tight because these mounts aren't super strong. You don't want to destroy your gas tank. But cinch them down so it doesn't move. Check our tight tension. It's pretty tight. It wiggles a little bit. It's tight, so that's good. I don't want to cinch them down too hard. I'll be bending these studs. All right, so now we got to route our gas cable. All right, basically just follow our same cable routing pattern here. There we go. Pop this around. There we go. So we got it on there tight, but it's not pinching it off, so we're good there. Gonna add another one. Just bring it up right to the bottom of your seat mat bracket right there. There you go. Now you can see we don't need a double set of cable ties on here. We just need one set. So we can go ahead and cut off this extra cable tie now. There we go. So we got our gas cable, our other cables all under one tie right here. Same with all the rest of these. These down below here. So we don't need these extra cables. There we go. And then we'll cut these off. Alright. Route that cable back up here. It's a pretty tight fit, but force it all the way on. There we go, that's good. And then we can add one more tie back here to hold all these together, keep them from flopping around. There we go. We just got to hook up our brake cable up front, and that'll finish off the front. So our brake cable, we'll bring it around and put it up in there. This particular cable, whoops, that's not how it works. All right, so we got our brake cable hooked up now. We got all the rest of our cables in. Let's just cut off these extra knobs sticking out.